There is a kind of fear nobody talks about. The fear of having no money of your own. Not because you are greedy, not because you don't trust the people you love, but because life can change in a single afternoon. And when it does, love alone may not be enough to protect you. But here's the strange part. Amara didn't think she was financially helpless. She had a beautiful home, a loving husband, food on the table, bills that were always paid. And yet, there was one thing she couldn't answer. If something happened tomorrow, could I take care of myself? This isn't a story about choosing money over marriage. It isn't about distrusting your husband. And it certainly isn't about becoming cold or selfish. It's about something much simpler. Learning to stand on your own feet, even when the person you love is standing beside you. And Amara was about to learn why that mattered. Amara had once dreamed of becoming a graphic designer. She loved colors. She loved turning blank pages into something meaningful. But after marriage, life became busy. There was always something else to do. A meal, cleaning chore, a family responsibility. And slowly, her dream became something she told herself she would return to one day. Daniel never told her she couldn't work. In fact, he often said, "If you ever want to do something, I'll support you." And Amara believed him. She loved him, trusted him. So she never noticed how dangerous the word someday could become. For years, Amara's world felt stable. Daniel earned the money. Amara managed the home. They made decisions together. There was no reason to worry. At least, that's what Amara thought. Then one rainy Tuesday morning, Daniel didn't get out of bed. At first, Amara thought he was sleeping. She touched his shoulder. "Daniel." Nothing. She called his name again. This time, his eyes opened. But something was wrong. At the hospital, the doctors told them Daniel needed treatment. It wasn't something they could ignore. Amara sat beside him holding his hand. She kept saying, "We'll figure this out." But then the financial counselor arrived and placed a folder on the table. The number inside made Amara's stomach drop. That evening, Daniel apologized. "I'm sorry." Amara shook her head. "Don't apologize for being sick." But inside, something had already changed. For the first time in her marriage, Amara realized something terrifying. She didn't know how much money they had. She didn't know where every account was. She didn't know how the bills were paid. She had trusted, but she had never prepared. The next morning, Amara opened Daniel's desk drawer. She wasn't searching for secrets. She was searching for answers. Bank statements, insurance papers, bills, passwords. Anything that could tell her how to keep their life standing. She found documents, but not understanding. That night, she finally said it. "Daniel, I think I need to learn." Daniel looked at her. "Learn what?" "Everything." She pointed toward the papers. "Our money, our accounts, how the bills work, how to earn, how to save." Daniel was silent. Then he smiled gently. "You don't have to worry about all that." Amara looked down and quietly replied, "I know, but I want to." The next morning, Amara did something she hadn't done in years. She opened her old sketchbook. She looked at the drawings she had abandoned. And for the first time, she didn't see a forgotten dream. She saw a possible income. She spent 2 hours learning a simple design program. Then 3. Then 4. She was terrible at first, but she kept going. Her first design was rejected. The second was ignored. The third received no reply. And one night, Amara closed her laptop and cried. Not because she had failed, but because a tiny voice inside her whispered, "Maybe you're not capable of this." She almost listened. Almost. The next morning, she tried again. She changed one thing, then another. She watched another tutorial. She practiced. And finally, someone said yes. Her first client paid her a small amount. Amara stared at the payment notification for almost a minute. It wasn't much, but she had earned it herself. She didn't spend it. She didn't buy something to prove anything. She opened a separate savings account and placed the money inside. Then she whispered, "This is mine." Not because Daniel wasn't hers, not because their marriage wasn't real, but because she finally understood something. Security should never depend on only one person's ability to earn. Months passed. Daniel slowly recovered, and something about Amara had changed. She still cooked, still laughed, still loved him. But now, she also had her own work, her own savings, her own skills, her own decisions. Daniel noticed. One evening, he asked, "Are you happy?" Amara smiled. "For the first time in a long time, I'm proud of myself." Amara's income grew slowly. She learned budgeting. She learned investing. She learned how taxes worked. She built an emergency fund. She made mistakes, lost money once, started again. But something was different now. Failure no longer sounded like, "I'm helpless." It sounded like, "I can learn." Then, almost a year later, Daniel came home early. He placed his work bag on the floor. He didn't say anything. Amara looked at him. "What happened?" Daniel sat down. "I lost my job." The old Amara would have panicked. She would have thought, "How are we going to survive?" But this time, she reached for his hand. "It's okay," she said. Daniel looked at her. "How can you say that?" Amara smiled gently. "Because we're not starting from zero." She opened the drawer. Inside was her savings plan, their emergency fund, her business records, and the money she had quietly built over the past year. Daniel stared at everything. Then he looked at her. Daniel's eyes filled with emotion. "I didn't know you had built all this." Amara looked at him. "I didn't know either." She paused. "I just knew I didn't want to be helpless." Daniel took her hand. And for the first time, he didn't see her as someone he needed to protect. He saw her as his partner. Years later, Amara's little design business had become something much bigger. She hired other women. Women who had dreams they had buried. Women who thought they were too late. Women who had never handled money before. And Amara taught them the first thing she had learned. Start small. Learn. Earn. Save. And never be ashamed of wanting to be capable. One afternoon, a young woman stayed behind after everyone left. She looked nervous. "My husband handles everything," she said. "I don't know anything about money." Amara smiled. "Neither did I." The woman looked surprised. "Then how did you learn?" Amara looked toward the window and remembered the rainy morning that had changed her life. Amara finally understood the question that had once frightened her. If something happened tomorrow, could I take care of myself? Back then, she had no answer. Now she did. Not because she knew exactly what tomorrow would bring, but because she knew something even more important. Whatever tomorrow brought, she would learn how to face it. That evening, Daniel found Amara sitting at her desk. She was working. He stood quietly at the doorway. "You know," he said, "I used to think protecting you meant making sure you never had to worry about money." Amara turned around. Daniel smiled. "Now I think protecting each other means making sure neither of us is afraid of tomorrow." Amara smiled back and returned to her work. Financial independence isn't about needing no one. It's about knowing you can stand when life asks you to.